My husband just admitted that I'm ugly.
Hey!
This girl is so dramatic, fam. I don't even care. She can stand over there if she wants. I'm going to continue.
Wait.
No, this dilemma is so crazy. I had to pause it and show my mum because I was just like, what kind of life are people living? I had to download Reddit today.
Some of y'all are living a sad life.
No, yeah. I looked at it today and I was like, people are living lives like this.
This is a sad life.
There was even another one. My mum said, don't even bother bringing that one to the podcast. The debate that will come out of that. Anyway, we got to do it next week. Bruh. Okay, my husband just admitted that I'm ugly.
No!
Wait.
Just admitting. You know
Just admitting. As if
Just
you've been...
now.
You know when you admit something, you've been holding it in.
Yeah.
And also it means that you've been lying before or like deceiving yourself before as well.
No.
People are going through it.
Oh, this is sad, you know. So I shouldn't even be laughing because this is sad.
Okay. I've always known I'm no beauty queen.
Hey!
It's just a fact of life. I've had to accept.
What?
No, honestly, guys.
Cut the camera.
Cut the cameras. This is sad.
No, it is sad, but you guys won't even let me get my
Sorry, go on. Want a tight schedule, go on.
Okay, I've always known I'm no beauty queen. It's just a fact of life I've had to accept. But for the past 4 years, my husband has made me feel like I'm the hottest woman on the planet. He's always telling me how beautiful I am, and somehow I started to believe it. Last night,
sorry.
Go on.
sad, right? Somehow I started to believe it.
Oh,
so sad, man. Oh, by the way, shout out Ice Stu who sent me this.
Shout out her.
Okay. Last night, he had his buddies over to hang out like usual. I was upstairs making snacks when I overheard them talking about me. A couple of guys were teasing my husband, calling me a troll and making horrendous comments about my appearance. Imagine you're preparing snacks for these guys, fam.
Men are...
I will just do...
What does that...
on the snack.
What does that mean?
You know the phlegm that's been sitting in your throat for 2 weeks.
You bring all of that up. What do you mean?
Let me bring up the coronavirus I got 2 years ago and put on the snacks. So, what are you talking about? About you're making snacks and someone's calling me a troll. What do you mean?
That's crazy.
Wait, that's why our mother said when you go to people's house, don't eat. Because what do you mean you're coming to my house calling me a troll?
Bro.
And you're eating the troll's food.
Nah, it's really dusty for me.
They said, how can you stand to climb into bed with a cow? With that cow every night?
No, this is guys. This is trigger warning. This is actually disgusting. This is disgusting.
No.
So how can you have so someone that your friend has been married to for 4
whole years?
I'm sorry, from the moment that your friend tells you that they like somebody, any backwards opinion that you have of that person, especially physically, you better swallow. Guys, swallow with me. And don't bring it up again.
She said swallow
with me. And never bring it up again.
Swallow with me.
These girls are mad.
Are you no, but Sharon.
No, it's mad. I've obviously read it, so my whole shock. When I told you, I literally, like I said, I had to replay it for my mum because I said, what?
This is insane.
Okay.
No.
This is insane.
No.
How can you stand to climb into bed with that cow every night? One asked. She looks like the love child of Charles Entertainment Cheese. I had to go and Google that because I was like, what is that? Anyway,
The love child of what and what?
Charles Entertainment Cheese.
Okay, don't worry. When I edit, I will put a picture of the child's whatever you said. I'll put it there.
And a double door fridge, another one goes. I froze in place, unable to believe what I was hearing. My husband exploded on them. Oh. Mm-hmm. Listen up, you idiots. I know she's ugly.
Men. Enjoy. Mofi Oluwa bang.
Well done! That was good!
Guys, please.
What?
Translate it for those people that can't
No, but I'm actually using God to please.
Honestly, using God to beg you.
Yeah, using God to beg you. Like, when you think you're doing something right.
Sorry, no, she doesn't have a start.
When you think you're doing something right, yeah, you're not. Men always try to make light of a situation. And the way they do it is always wrong. Always. Oh my God. Sorry. Continue.
My husband exploded on them. Listen up, idiots. I know she's ugly, but shut your mouth. She makes me happy. When's the last time any of you kept a relationship longer than a couple of years? I felt like I'd been sucker punched. I started bawling and ran to the shower before anyone could hear me.
What about the snacks?
Forget the snacks, boy.
That's like in the
Do you know what I mean? By the time after someone's just called you a double door fridge, I'll bring them snaps from the fridge.
Get out of my house.
By the time I came out, everyone had left. I mustered up the courage to confront my husband and he shrugged it off. Beauty is within, honey. Don't worry about what those guys said. I had to know the truth. Do you really think I'm ugly? He sighed. He
sighed.
You're just unique looking. But why does that
unique?
Matter? You're unique.
Unique? That's what you are.
Alien superstar.
No,
fam.
That's rude.
Damn.
You're just unique looking. Oh my gosh, where did I get to? Do you really think I'm ugly? You're just unique looking, but why does that matter? I felt like I'd been stabbed in the heart. How am I ugly? I asked. Come on, don't make me say it, he groaned. But I stood there, arms crossed, waiting. Fine, he snapped. Oh, you're a little big boned, but I like thick girls, and you have a kind of droopy face, but some guys are into that whole sad puppy dog thing. Your style is frumpy. You're not aging the best, but taken all together, you've still got a certain charm.
Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for listening.
No. Oh, no. But where do we go from here? No. Where do we go from here? That's how I'm going to wrap up this episode because I just don't understand. You people want to finish up before we even get to the end of the episode. We pay for studio time, but we can't even make it through. For what? For what? For what?
Each backhanded compliment was another dagger to my soul. I stared at him in disbelief as he kept rattling off more criticisms.
More!
Trying to soften the blows, but making them land even harder. You've let yourself go, but it doesn't matter to me. You're still one hell of a cook.
Hey!
You'll never be on the cover of Vogue, but that's all right. But you look all right with the lights off.
No, okay, sorry, Sharon, stop.
Sorry.
That's not.
Sorry.
No, that is rude. That is just being absolutely rude. You're a pig. You're disgusting. How can you say that and think that that's something as like a way to explain to someone how they look? You tell someone they look better with the light.
You must actually hate her.
You actually hate her.
You hate her, clearly.
No, 110%. But it's not even like a banterous thing. You actually hate her.
Every day I strive away from wanting to be married. Because how do you even recover from this?
4 years.
How do you even recover from this? Go on, Sharon.
Say it again.
Finally, I couldn't take anymore. I ran off crying as he called after me. Come on, don't be so sensitive. You asked for the truth. I still love your droopy face. And all his words echoed in my head, shredding what little self-esteem I had left.
He said, I still love your
droopy face.
He's crazy. The man I loved more than anything, who I thought loved me just as deeply, seemed to find me utterly repulsive on the outside. I locked myself in the bathroom, sobbing into the sink, wishing I could disappear down the drain and escape this nightmare. This isn't the kind of thing a marriage can recover from easily. I'm so lost now and don't know where we can move, how we can move past this after 4 years of feeling like the luckiest woman alive. How did everything fall apart so fast?
Sis, it's time to leave.
Is that the end?
Yeah.
It's time to leave.
It's time to go. Pack your stuff.
I'm so sorry. Like, normally I'd be like, try and work. It's time to pack your load and go.
Honestly, it's not even the fact that, because I don't know who I had this conversation with or whether it was you guys, but some people, obviously, guys, they've said that like they know that they haven't got like the best babe in the thing, yeah? But to them, you are the best person in the room. Like, I don't know how to explain that. I don't know who I was talking to. They would be like, they were saying like,
it wasn't it. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I can't remember that. You might not have like the most stunning babe, but to yourself, they are like the apple of your eye.
Yeah, like
there's no one that really like compares to them. Like in every single way, you find them attractive.
Yeah,
everything about them you love. But the fact that it's basically like what I'm getting for this thing, she was the last resort.
Yeah,
like maybe he's gone through A, B, and C. Like she was the one that accepted me. Like, do you understand? Like, it was like the last resort. That is so sad.
Do you know what it is for me? Yeah, these sort of things when it comes to like looks and all this sort of thing, blah blah blah. Like, it always seems like as if it's like the guys will always say, "Oh yeah, like the babe, like she's not always the best," and I'm like looking at them like, "And you? Are you the best?
I know where I had the conversation.
Can she not do better as well?" What? Who said that? Because it's always, I swear to God, and whenever these conversations happen, I always hear it from the perspective of, "Oh yeah, like there's always better women out there."
It's because like
yourself,
I feel like society has made it seem as though women prove themselves by their beauty and men do the same by their money. So it's kind of like, if you don't have looks, what do you have to offer? And for a guy, if you haven't got money, what do you have to offer?
And by the way, I know people are going to hear this. We're not saying that this is the general stance that everybody takes this view. We're just saying that some people take this view that's like a high levels.
Which I think is obviously crazy. But I feel like even saying, I get what you were saying in terms of like, they're like, oh, even though I know that my woman isn't the best looking woman in the world, I don't even think you need to do that prelude.
You don't need to be doing
we don't need that preamble.
The thing is,
everybody could be saying that. You're not the only person. Every single exactly, but every single person in the damn world can say that there's probably somebody out there that's better looking than them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it doesn't.
It's you know when you don't need to say it. You don't need to say it. Two things cancelled out. Like, it's not like it's one way and it's like it's not the other way, because it's both ways. So why not for you both? Why are you bringing that as a factor? Like, it just nullifies each other. So for you to bring that out, that must mean that you feel like you have the upper hand.
Guys have audacity.
No, they really do. And I feel so sorry for that woman.
How can you be saying that in the present? Like, you're even in their home. I just think the whole thing is so crazy.
It's a mad
to me, it's
there's
like,
no respect.
It's not even like you did this in the privacy of like your boy's house or something, but you're in your own home. You know your cooking. Wife is in the home making you guys snacks, and you're having this conversation loud enough for her to hear every word that you're saying.
And the fact that they feel so comfortable saying that in front of you means that you have just been reloading jokes like no man's
saying that in my house,
bro.
What are you saying outside my house?
The fact that you have the confidence to speak about my wife in that way
means you were bantering about her elsewhere. Like, guys, I feel like guys, and maybe I'm just maybe it's not the right stance, but from what I've seen, I feel like even though guys' jokes can be quite mad, it's they normally use a way to enter because they've seen how you might have spoken about something. If a guy has a stance where it's like, for example, and I know this is the maddest comparison, but let's just say when it comes to, like, for example, like your mum, right? So like, a guy might, like, for example, if a guy like banters about his mum in a particular way, then your boys might leverage that and feel like they have the. But everybody knows,
comfortable enough to do that.
Everyone knows when it comes to your friends' parents, like, you respect, you give, especially if they give that view, like, I respect my parents, like. It's not talking like you don't go ahead and use that as a way to be bantering them. So that's exactly how it should be when it comes to your spouse of all people. They shouldn't even entertain or even enter their mind that they should be able to even converse even without you, because it shouldn't even be something that's up for debate. Why are you debating? It shouldn't even be something you even look at.
But even if you are debating it, why are you bringing it to my house?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
There's no respect.
None.
There's absolutely no respect.
None.
In terms of like what the woman should do, you need to leave.
Yeah,
there's no, for me there's no coming back from that. Like, I know it's easy to say, oh, divorce and all this stuff. Like, obviously it's not easy, especially if you've been with someone married for 4 years. Like, especially if you don't have kids, I think it's time to call it a day. Like, go somewhere where you're appreciated. Like, I've had to teach that to myself. Like, go where you're loved, go where you're appreciated, because there will be someone there that does appreciate you.
Yeah.
Like, how can you be feeling like this in your own home?
Yeah, ridiculous.
Your husband is saying you got a droopy face. Man, get out of here.
She has adopted that mentality within. So, like, it's definitely not going to just be a case of she leaves him and she's fine. Like, this is something that has been etched within her. Like, it's going to require a lot of work, because, like, I know everyone says it's so cliche about the whole, like, you have to, like, love yourself first, but, like, you can't hate yourself. You can't actually, like, hate everything about yourself and then think that it's going to be fixed because a guy was saying that you felt like the most beautiful person.
Don't seek
Would
validation.
you guys consider yourselves to be beautiful?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When have you always felt that way, or do you feel like there was a moment in your life when, not necessarily a defining moment, like on the 18th of February, like not that, but like, when do you feel like you gradually started to like, no, I actually feel like I'm beautiful. I love myself.
You know, it's deep. It's a very deep thing because
I think for me, it was like towards the end of secondary school, going into college.
Okay.
Sixth form. I was like, okay, you're not too bad. And then I think...
What do you think led to that?
Because obviously, if we're being real, obviously, I've always struggled with my weight. So it's kind of like, I used to see myself as like undesirable.
Yeah.
And like, oh, people don't know, and all that stuff. But then I think when I started being like, you know what, I actually don't care. And I started feeling good about myself. I think when I started finding my own style, I got into like doing my makeup and things like that, taking care of myself. I think that, not that I felt physically beautiful, but I felt physically and just meant like everything. I just felt, I just felt more beautiful. And then obviously sometimes you might feel like when you start getting male attention, maybe you start to feel like, oh, maybe I am desirable, stuff like that. I do think that plays. I think it feeds into it and plays a little part. But I think for me, it was like the end of year 11 when I finally like looked at myself in the mirror and like, oh, like I'm actually becoming like a woman. Because I know sometimes when you're during secondary school, I think we spoke about it before, like no guys looking at you and all that stuff. Like they're always going for the white girls basically at school. But I think for me, that's when I had my turn. And then when I got to uni, I was like, yeah, bad bitch.
Do you know what? It's weird because like I never really look at myself externally. Because you said like when you love yourself and all that, like I've never really looked at like externally, like I looked at myself and thought, damn, like not damn, like I look good, like as in like obviously like for example if I dress up and I go out for an occasion, like I might look good, like I know I look good, cool. But I just mean like I never really had that moment that you're talking about based on exterior. I think for me, yeah, this is just my own personal opinion, but like my own personal opinion, but I feel like my internal like my soul, like my being, right, is radiates out. And I love that about myself. Like, I feel like people know me, like, how do I explain it? You know, when you create a name for yourself, like people, when they hear Beatrice, they'll think of, like, she's
how would your friends describe you sort of thing?
Yeah, like, how would your friends describe me? Maybe like, not even just like, yeah, how would your friends describe you? But I think it's more about the confidence. It's about just authentically being yourself. Like, I've never really felt like I need to like dimmer myself. Like, for example, I remember when we were younger, like we would always be told like we're so loud, like we're just so like in your face, and look how it's paid off, baby. Like we're having a podcast. We're able to have these things because this is who we are. Like, and I love that about myself. Like I don't sit there a lot of the time thinking back like, oh, like I didn't really behave. I don't spend like I never really was my true self. Like in all moments, even regardless of how external people have viewed it, like I've always had, most of the time anyway, I've had that stance. So I think for me, it's always been internal. And maybe that's something that I need to, you know, start to appreciate externally. But when I talk about beauty, like I never ever think, oh, it's because of how I look, because of how my body is, because of how my hair looks. I never. It's always to do with my person, like my whole being, essentially. But yeah, I don't know when that particular moment hit for sure, but maybe it was probably like towards the end of secondary school.
I think it's when you kind of discover,
you get to know about yourself.
You just discover yourself and who you are. And you kind of like, because you know sometimes when you're going through school, you're like, I don't know, like you don't really know where you kind of fit, and you don't know whether, I don't know how to explain it, like you sometimes doubt your personality. Sometimes I used to doubt my personality and be like, is this actually me? Is this normal?
Yeah.
Like, and then when you start to develop that and you're like, actually, this is me. And that's how I started to see myself and being like, no, I am who I am. People love me for who I am. If you don't, and I think when you get to an age where you kind of accept yourself for who you are, you now start to see the beauty within, and it just oozes out of you. And I think that's when I got to like end of secondary school and then like getting towards college, uni, I kind of knew like, bam, this is kind of who I am. And I just started to go into that a little bit more. And I think that's when I started to feel like that. What about you?
I think for me, mine would definitely be after uni. I'd say like
after uni.
Yeah, I'd say like in the last like 3-4 years.
Really?
Yeah. I feel like, not that I've never thought that I was beautiful. That's not it. But I think I just... Also, I have the context of like being dark skinned, which we talk about all the time, and I don't really like talking about it too much. But that is definitely like an aspect of it.
Yeah.
But I think also just the personality thing I can definitely relate to. Like I just felt like not only was I like loud and all of those things, I think a lot of people used to also label me as like being like too nice. And for a really long time, I genuinely thought like I need to change that. Like I
had that same realization during uni. And I think even though, like, sorry to interrupt you by the way, but even though like I felt beautiful, I felt myself, I definitely had moments of doubt whether how I was as a person was the right way and whether I needed to change myself.
Does that stop you from feeling like you're like what you're describing in terms of like you like?
No, but I'm saying in terms of personality, because you know we said that like understanding our personality and things like that.
Okay.
It kind of just made me doubt kind of who I am or how God made me to be in terms of me interacting with people. So that's when I kind of had doubts. I think for me, uni was definitely where I kind of found myself in the sense of that I had to, how do I explain it? Like, I don't know, I had doubts and then I kind of like confirmed like, no, I don't need to have any doubts. Like, this is how I am, but continue.
No, yeah. And I forgot to add the prelude of like, I agree in terms of internal, like how I am internally is what also dictates how I feel on the outside. Like, even if I was like drop dead gorgeous, but I had a like terrible personality, had no friends and couldn't keep any relationships, and I would not feel beautiful because it's like, who can I share life with? Like nobody. Like, do you know what I mean? So like physically as well, I'd still say definitely after uni. But I don't know, I just feel like, and I think all of us have said this, that uni was a really difficult time. Like I feel like what I thought I knew about myself, I didn't really know, or like how I felt about certain situations, I didn't like. I don't know. It was just a really tough time. I feel like I've only really come into myself in the last like 3 years, if I'm being really honest. Like confident in who I am, and also in like I didn't really care about like necessarily like other stuff, like in terms of like skin tone, all that kind of stuff, my height, my weight, I legit don't really care about that stuff now. Like I'm like, if I've put on weight, I'll just buy bigger clothes. Like, do you know what I mean? But I'd say in the last like 3-4 years. But the reason I asked that though is because I feel like this woman hasn't had that epiphany yet.
Yeah, she definitely hasn't.
And like, obviously, like we've said, beauty is, you know, on the outward, like that is part of it. But honestly, like I feel like the content of your heart also dictates how beautiful you are. I don't know if you've had it with people where like you've met them and you've thought like, I don't know, for example, like if I'm talking to a guy and stuff, like he's not necessarily the guy that I'd normally go for. Yeah. But then I've gotten to know him and his personality. And all of a sudden, like, he's starting to look like the guy that I like. I don't know how to
100%.
Like, personality goes a really long way. And I feel like for this lady, just because your husband doesn't find you physically attractive does not mean that there's not some guy somewhere that is like, you are everything that I would want in a woman. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, for sure. Sad though.
It is sad.
Very, very sad.
Gotta leave his ass.
Damn.
But
quickly, song of the week.
Oh, I was going to say,
we're going to introduce ourselves,
guys, to another episode of the BTS Podcast. You are joined by your lovely host, Beatrice,
Tammy,
and Sharon, and welcome back to another episode of the BTS Pod. We're going to quickly run through Song of the Week before we go into the topic.
Yeah.
I'm not adding a song, but you guys go ahead.
Okay, I am going to add July 16th by Giveon. That song is so good. My brother listens to Giveon a lot, like every...
Which brother?
Toluwani, my youngest brother. And one day I was like, let me just start listening to this guy because the way my brother goes on about him. And then, I came across July 16th and I was like, this song is a joke. And then I started listening to just Giveon. I don't know. I get like that. I don't know if you guys are like that. If you like discover a new artist, obviously Giveon's not you.
You just go through like the whole...
I just start going through their whole catalogue of music.
Yeah. My song is going to be a throwback because you know how TikTok stays bringing back old tunes. And mine's going to be Juice, YC, Malik Berry. I think the reason why...
my song. Too much juice, too much sauce.
Oh, wow.
Too much sauce, too much juice.
But basically on TikTok, you know Malik's verse, like on that track, was just
sick.
It's actually sick.
What year did that come out?
Let me even check.
I feel like I was in uni.
Yeah, we definitely were in uni. But yeah, like that was just such a
or like just before uni for me. I can't remember.
Maybe
no, it was uni. I think so.
It came out. Actually, the album came out in 2017.
No, the
17. Yeah, that's uni.
Yeah.
Damn.
But yeah, it was. Just TikTok has been reloading that and people like doing like just singing along to Malik's verse in particular. I'm just like, what?
I haven't come across that.
I mean,
yeah, sick.
Algorithm gets me to that point.
But yeah, so that's the songs that we're gonna add to our. You definitely add anything, yeah?
No.
Cool. So that's the songs we're gonna add to our Apple Music and Spotify playlist. I can't lie, because of the way we be kind of putting gospel, putting everything in there, we might have to like change the ordering a little bit just so that it flows a bit better. Because if people are listening, I don't know, like I don't even know how we can do it. I mean, imagine
going from popping booty to praising the Lord.
Hallelujah. But yeah, we have to we might rejig the ordering a little bit, but all the songs will definitely be there, Shas. So just so it makes it a bit easier for you guys to hear. But yeah, so we'll add all that to our Spotify Apple Music playlist. Find the link down below in the description box. And also you'll find in the description of all the episodes as well. So go ahead, check that out. Next time you're getting ready or anything and need the playlist, hit that and vibe along.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I guess it was a nice segue, our dilemma, into kind of what we're going to talk about this week. But I came across this, actually it was a podcast as well, but it was like a snippet on Instagram. And this girl was crying. I don't know if you guys are like...
Everyone always crying, man.
Oh, stop. I always listen to stuff on mute, but I just read the subtitles. But when I saw tears, I said, I need to actually hear what's going on. Okay. And she was essentially talking about like knowing when to walk away from a relationship or a friendship. But then there's no like big moment. There's no like he cheated. Or
I think I've seen this.
Do you know what I mean? It's just when do you... But it's just like that person just doesn't feel like my person. Like there's nothing. I can't put my finger on it. You haven't done anything wrong. It's just when I think about you and me forever, it's not.
It's not forever.
I don't really want.
It's not forever.
Yeah.
So then she was just like, so that's why she was crying, because she was like, it's hard to explain to somebody why you feel like you need to leave. Because obviously, if you've been together for a long time, you might want to be like, okay, no, we can work. The other person might be like, we can work this out. And it's like, we actually can't. It's you. It's just the essence of who you are. Like the two of us, it's not aligning.
It's not aligning.
So I was just going to ask you guys whether, like how, if your friend was in that situation, what kind of advice would you give? And also, not just in relationships, but also in friendships. When do you know when, like, I feel like it's not going to work? Like I need to walk away. And how do you have that discussion as well?
I've never had that discussion. I don't think I've ever had that discussion. I can't even cap. The most, like, I haven't had that discussion at all in terms of friendship. But I'm trying to so the first thing you asked was, how would you advise your friend if they're telling you about how they were feeling about their partner?
I don't know. I think I just tell them, I don't know, to take a break. I don't know. Not a break, but like, to take themselves out of the relationship or the friendship, because I'm not telling them to go on a break and then rekindle. I'm saying in terms of, if you feel that way now, you don't want to keep wasting time, and especially if you're in a relationship. Friendship is a bit different because you can always, friends, like it can be long, it can be short, whatever. But I'm saying in terms of relationship, if you feel like you have any doubts or you don't see yourself being with that person, you owe it to yourself and the person to just kind of leave it alone. And sometimes, I guess sometimes you feel like, okay, if you're feeling like this, maybe it's just like a phase. Maybe it'll go away. But if you've been constantly feeling this for a while, I think it might be best to take a step out of the relationship and
How long's a while?
I think it's dependent on you. I think it's dependent on, okay, if we're putting an age on it, if I felt like this at 21, I think I'd probably long it out a bit more compared to if I was now in my late 30s, because
now in your late 30s.
Sorry. Now in my late 20s, I wanted to say closer to 30. I honestly think age also plays a massive factor into it, because you don't want to waste too much time when you're a little bit older. Like, I want kids and I don't want them too late At the same time, I don't want them too early, but I don't want my kids too late. And if you find yourself in a relationship where you don't really see yourself with that person, I think the sooner the better, especially if you are a bit older. Yeah, that's just how I feel about it. What about you guys?
I don't know. Like I said, I'm just very... I know that the way that I think is not always the best, and it's not like, conventional words you may use, but like, I don't know. I just always believe in the idea of like trying. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I'm not someone that would encourage to give up easily.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why is that sometimes, even though you have this feeling, that like this person isn't for you, and you can't put,
like
especially when you can't put your finger on it. I do think that it's important to try to at least get to the place where you know what it is, because sometimes like it doesn't actually help you later on. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but like I see people walking away from stuff not knowing what it was. Therefore, it doesn't enable you to do better next time because you haven't actually solved or fixed. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Do you know what I was going to say as you were saying that, which is what I was like, a bit later on? I feel like people are so infatuated with this when you know, you know.
Yeah.
And some people feel like until I have that I know moment, nobody else is for me. But they don't know what that is. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of the people are saying when you know, it's because they've worked at it for a long enough period of time that they now know. Like, do you know what I mean? It's not like when I just met him in Tesco and the way he was looking at me, I just knew then and there that was my husband. Like, a lot of work has to go into a relationship first before you can get to that, like, now I know. Yeah. And I feel like Beatrice was saying, unless you really have I know that there's sometimes you're just like, I just can't put my finger on it, but something isn't right. But I do think, especially if you've been in a relationship for a long time, you owe it to that person to come up with a reason. I'm so sorry, but imagine you've been dating a guy for 3 years and he's talking about, there's something I just don't know. You must know. You have to know. Like, you can't just like...
Yeah, agreed.
Not that we 100%, because I know we have differing views about closure and stuff, but I feel like, you can't leave that person after 3 years with zero closure.
No, that's bad. That is bad. That's what I mean in the sense that like, but not even just about owing it to them, but also owe it to yourself. Because like I said, I just think people end up in cycles, or you basically go into something else and you're not able to spot. You're not able to even help yourself by spotting the thing that basically stopped you from do you know what I mean? So I just think it's a very tricky place to be in, and I would just advise that you give as much time as you can to find the reason.
Not too much time though. I feel like you got to plant the seed at least, because the only reason I say that is because I saw another lady, completely different by the way, but she was talking about something similar. She said that she was engaged to be married, and she broke off the engagement, and she couldn't give a reason as to why. And she was just saying that, like, I just couldn't put my finger on it. And the way that she described it was just like, you know, when you see a shoe that is nice, you like the shoe, but the shoe's not in your size. It's like, it doesn't take away from the fact that the shoe is nice. It's just not for you because there's no size. And like, I get the metaphor, but I'm just...
People be doing too much these days, man.
But
to get a point.
Like she was trying to get a
word,
but that ain't
wording, boy.
But, you know, people dragged her for that one. But what I'm trying to say is that, like, don't leave it too long. Because if you think that, if that other person, which is why I'm saying plant the seed, if that other person thinks everything's honky-dory and you're really feeling like this is not my person, you got to plant the seed. Even if you're not...
That is a word. You got 1,000%.
Yeah, you got to plant the seed. Yeah. Otherwise, that person could be ring shopping.
And that's why I say...
How can you get to proposal and that's when you're telling me all this while something's just not been right?
Exactly. And that's why for me, like, I understand that sometimes you might want to like take time to like process stuff before you go and tell somebody, but the moment you're done processing it, like, and even if you're not complete, like I said, you don't know the answer, but like, you know, okay, cool, I'm starting to feel some type of way. Like, I do think that, like Sharon said, planting the seed, you might not say it like 1,000. I mean, for me, I would say it, but like some people might not feel comfortable saying it because then it gives the person, I don't know, people just have funny ways about how they deal with things, right? But like, I definitely believe that telling the person and having the person have sight of where your head is at.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're saying you've been feeling like this for a while and you just can't put your finger on it, like that means that you definitely haven't been telling the person at all anyway, and they're just hunky-dory, thinking that everything's fine. And I'm massive as well, and I have massive belief in the fact that, like, I know people say that, oh yeah, like it's not you, it's me. Like I just have that view, but sometimes actually people, I won't be aware of how I'm behaving towards you until you point out certain things. So like, and also if you obviously love me and you have. And it's like something that because this is the thing though, because sometimes it's different. Sometimes it's a case of, if I actually ended up doing now what it is that you want, right? Are you going to stay? Because sometimes people then will be like, oh no, like nah, it's not just that, like it's more whatever it may be, right? But things that I'm trying to say is that.
About that as well.
Yeah, but things I'm trying to say is that at least let someone have the opportunity to try and do better if it's what they want. Like, for example, in the friendship, taking it away from the relationship, but friendships, right? Let's say your friend has been like speaking to you a particular way or whatever it is, and it's making you feel a bit upset, blah, blah, blah. Rather than you just holding it, and decide, you know what, this person isn't my friend anymore. How about have a conversation with them and bring them and let them, you know, understand that this is something that they're doing to you. And if this is the way that they could potentially approach it in another way, and give them the opportunity to try to do better. Because sometimes actually even just the effort, some people might not even get to the destination, but even seeing the effort gives you comfort in knowing that this person actually wants to try to do better, like, and actually cares. But when people don't, and then I can understand why you'd be like, okay, cool, yeah, I'm done. Like, you clearly don't even want to
It's funny that you say that, because currently on Love Island, there was like a bit of a discussion with two girls, Ella and Whitney.
Yeah.
And basically Whitney told Ella, like, you're one of the most selfish people I've ever met. And it kind of like, not like an uproar, but there was like a little debate about like friendships, whether, you know, you can have some friends where some of their traits you might not like, but that doesn't take away the fact that they're still a good person. So it just made me think that, okay, she said that she's very selfish, but obviously it doesn't take away the fact that they're a good friend. Would you think that it's possible for that to happen? Like, if I told you that you were selfish, but you're still my friend, like you're still a good friend, would you feel a certain type of way? Like, would you feel like you need to work on that? Or is that just how you are?
Yeah.
If my close friend is telling me that I have selfish tendencies, I would feel like I have to work on that.
Yeah.
Like, if it's a random person I don't know, I would probably, like, I wouldn't really necessarily take it to heart, but I'd probably come to you with that. Like, oh, somebody said that I'm selfish. Like, would you agree?
Okay, but in the context of Love Island, obviously these people are like living with each other. So obviously there's some traits that your friends might have that it might not be as amplified because you're not in their space. Like like
cleanliness.
Being clean, selfish. Like, I think the example that she gave was like, you jumped into the shower when other people are waiting. Go.
So I haven't been watching Love Island, but I did see, like, I kind of know who's on it and stuff like that. And I did see that clip that you're talking about. Yeah. Then people were saying like, oh, how can she say that she's selfish just because she jumped into the shower? Which, by the way, like, I don't know. By the way,
that is selfish.
That is kind of selfish. Like, if you're not gonna like ask anyone, like, or if you're always the first one to go when you know everyone's waiting, it's kind of selfish. But there was another clip, which I don't know if you've seen this clip because you're not watching it this year, either, are you? There was another girl, I can't remember what her name is, but I think it's the latest bombshell.
Ella B,
yeah. She was doing her makeup and then Ella said to her, like, can you go over there because all my stuff is here. The girl's already doing her makeup, by the way. And Ella B's like, well, all my stuff is here as well. And like someone else is sitting there. She was like, well, there's a space like over there somewhere. And I was like, that is selfish. Like, you're saying all your stuff is here. All her stuff is also here. But you're telling her to...
both in the same place.
And she's already sat down doing her makeup.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes in certain situations, like, some of your traits can get amplified, if that's the word. But in my head, I'm thinking, I'm just thinking about the other side. It's kind of like, sometimes you won't know the traits of your friend unless like you're around them like all the time. Like, I know I have some friends where some of the way that they are, I'm just a bit like, okay, I need to take you in doses. Like, I can't have you around me 24/7.
Doesn't take away from the fact that
it doesn't take away the fact that I think you're a good friend or I think you're a good person. But sometimes it's kind of like, oh, I just need to take you.
A friend in doses is still a good friend.
I think so.
Yeah.
Can you explain?
Okay, if you have a friend where, how do I explain it?
if I have a case, so for example, let's say for example, I'm someone that I'm very like blunt and the way I speak is just like this, but I have a friend that's very, very sensitive. Like I'm not going to be able to speak to you
in a way that you would speak to someone else that can
would
take
be
it.
natural to me, but I wouldn't say that you're not a good friend.
Yeah, or like
okay.
you're quite sensitive. Like let's say you got a friend that's quite sensitive, and obviously maybe like Beatrice said, you're more blunt, you're this and that. Like if I was the sensitive friend, I think I'd have to, if there was a problem or something, you probably wouldn't be the first person that I'd go to because of how you are. I'd probably go to someone who's more...
But you would still say that person is still a good friend, even though you can't go to them with their issues.
It's not about...
Wait. Sorry, let me just finish. Just so that I know that I'm understanding clearly. Because I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you. I just want to understand. Yeah. So you are sensitive. I am sensitive. Beatrice is blunt. I have an issue. But every time I have an issue, I can't go to Beatrice because the way that she delivers it is too blunt for me. But she's still a good friend to me.
It's not every time you have an issue. There's just sometimes maybe you'd want someone who will baby you a bit. Like I don't like it doesn't take away the fact that you're still a good friend. Maybe I just don't go to that person for everyday problems. Maybe I don't know how to explain it.
No, I get what you're saying.
There's some friends where I'm not going to go to them with all of my problems, but I still guarantee...
It's just maybe because they're not your first point of call, not because, you don't like the way that they deliver.
That's what we mean.
No, but that's what we mean. But you're still a good friend to me.
Yeah, but it's just that
but when I say like you're not my first point of call, it's not because of anything that you do. It's just that I have a closer relationship with someone else. So they are my first point of call. But you're making it sound like I don't go to you because you can never be my first point of call because the way that you deliver criticism is blunt. But then how is that?
Yeah, but you could
friend. If you don't feel, I don't know.
I get what you mean, Shannon. To be fair, there's elements of what you're saying is right, yeah. But I also just feel like naturally, when you have issues and this is how people are, and this is what I mean about the differences. So for example, with someone like you, right, I can imagine that like, let's say you are going through like a sensitive, like something that, I don't know, you know what the answer is. Like, when you're going through something, you know the answer, babe. Like, you know this ain't it, y'all. And you know that if you go and tell this person this ain't it, but before you want to hear this ain't it, you need somebody else that's going to...
And maybe if they tell you something...
Yeah, then you're just... Yeah.
And then maybe you go to the other friend and they confirm it. I don't know.
There's some sort of change, but it doesn't necessarily mean that person is not understanding or not a good friend. Or I don't have to explain it. And also, I just feel like sometimes we also deceive ourselves in the sense that, like, we just in a particular moment, you don't want to admit it, but you just want someone to baby you.
We have said this before on the pod, I think, but I genuinely feel like if that's the case, you need to have a conversation with your friend. You can't just be avoiding that person.
It's not avoiding.
Wait.
You're going to go to them eventually, but it's not first.
Okay. But my whole thing is like, if I feel like, we've already discussed this, but the way that Beatrice delivers criticism is very blunt and straight to the point.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I'm not going to now not go to her first because I'm like, I don't want her to be blunt. I might just, and I've done this in the past, I might be like, I need to tell you something, yeah? But I need you to deliver this with care. Do you know what I mean? It's not me.
But some people don't have that.
But I need you to understand that I'm not talking about your best friend.
Yeah.
I'm just saying collectively as friends. If we look at our friends, there's some people that you will tell will tell something because of the way that they'll deliver it, as opposed to someone else. And it doesn't mean that they're not a good person or they're not a good friend.
Good person is different from good friends.
It doesn't mean that they're not a good friend or whatever.
Yeah, and they're not supportive.
They're not supportive or anything like that. It's just that you just pick and choose when you want to go to that person when you don't. Yeah. It's not that they're not a good friend or they're not a good person, because the girl on Love Island, she's like, it's not like you're not a good person. It's just that you have very selfish tendencies. And sometimes you do see that in some of your friends. They'll be like, but at the same time, let me use this as an example. The whole selfish thing. You could have like a person that has selfish tendencies and you'll just brush it because it's not like you're with that person every day. Like maybe when you do see that person, they sometimes do selfish things. Like, I don't know, like, let's say you both go to the toilet and she's always the one that goes first. Like, why can't you just let me go first? But you're not going to bring it up because it's just like, oh, she's just a little bit selfish. Like, she's just or someone that's not that self-aware, but it's not, maybe you'll bring it up to them like if something massive happens, but if it's small times that you're a little bit selfish, like I'm not going to waste my time and bring that up to you every single time. But obviously in Love Island, you would see that more because you're living with the person. So that's my kind of thing, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I hear it. It's interesting.
No, it is interesting.
Well, I don't remember how did we even lead to this?
I can't really remember how we got here.
Yeah, well, that's the end of the episode.
I just thought it was super interesting because I feel like there is definitely an art to walking away, especially if you don't feel like you fully know why you are doing that. I feel like sometimes, like I said, don't waste too much time, but also I would agree in terms of try and work it out. Like if you don't know why,
I don't want to say work out with the person, just work out within yourself what the issue is.
I would say try and work out with the person.
Yeah, as well. But like
for a period of time, because you also don't know if that's a phase.
Yeah.
Like it actually might be
a phase on their part as well.
It might be a phase on their part. It might be a phase on your part. Like for example, I know that like at the start of the year, I had a horrible start to the year. I wasn't even really trying to, like, I could imagine if I was in a relationship at that time, I probably would not have been a nice person to be around. Do you know what I mean? But you can't really tell me that, it's because of, like, you probably may not have been able to tell me. So, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like potentially you should try and see if you can work it out first. Yeah. If that's not the case, go to people that you trust before you end a relationship. If that magnitude, in my opinion.
Yeah, for real. But anyways, appreciate you guys tuning in again for another episode. As always, follow us on our socials. That is BTS Pod _ on Twitter, on Instagram, and on TikTok. Follow us on YouTube, the BTS Podcast. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit the notification bell as well, so you guys are notified when we drop something new, which is every Monday. Make sure you guys follow us on Spotify, follow us on Apple Music as well. Leave a review, 5 stars only.
Yeah, I was going to say leave a review on Spotify and
please.
Apple Podcasts.
5 stars, please. 4.5 only. Anything below, keep it to yourself. I don't even know if they do half. If they don't. Yeah, they're maybe 4 or 5.
5 stars and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. I don't. Yeah. Well, you actually can, and Spotify. It will say, "What do you think of this episode?" Write something.
Yeah, write something.
And be honest.
Yeah, we want to see it. We want to see it. But I appreciate you guys.
Also, sorry, I was just going to say, if there's anything that you guys want us to discuss, I think our Instagram DMs are open, or like the comment sections get a bit busy, but like, yeah, our Instagram DMs, let us know. And send through your dilemmas.
Yeah,
people have been doing that.
Yeah,
Thank
keep on
you.
sending them in, man.
And we'll try and get to them.
Yeah.
Bro. I appreciate the love, guys, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye.